Alright then. We finna watch a video on orcas. Orcas? I think it's orcas. What they do underwater when they get drugs in their system. You'll find out. You'll find out what I mean by that.
First off, here's some info for anyone new to orcas and their weird habits. Young orcas get a special feeling from munching on toxic jellyfish, just like dolphins that nip at pufferfish to make them secrete their nerve toxin. Orcas have been seen playing with sea nettle jellies several times, even chewing on them. This jellyfish has tentacles with stinging cells that paralyze its prey, mostly zooplankton, small fish, and other jellyfish, but young orcas enjoy the tingling sensation from these deadly cells.
Tingling sensation.
Dolphins do the same thing when they play with a pufferfish. They pass it to each other and get pleasure from the toxin. In small doses, this toxin apparently causes something like a trance. Everything I just mentioned is just a taste of how orcas lose their minds. It's going to get a little worse, and it really seems like insanity. That's what happens when you're an apex predator. Just an unobtrusive reminder of something, a bit of coffee, and let's move on.
Hey, I'm Pete.
I don't like the ASMR stuff he be doing when he drinks his little coffee.
These shots were taken during the filming of the new Queens series by National Geographic. The series is dedicated to matriarchs in the animal kingdom, so it makes sense that scientists set out to film orcas. Originally, they just saw a play between members of two pods, but then something went wrong. A female and her young daughters were playing with the stranger's calf, a female, exhibiting typical behavior for the species. And suddenly, the matriarch's son, a young male, hit the calf with force. While orca play can seem rough to us, it's normal. But delivering such blows is weird. Then the adult female teamed up with the young male, and together they held the stranger's calf underwater until it drowned. Several days later, the body of a young female, similar in size and description to the one that drowned, washed up on shore 5 miles from the scene.
Wow.
She was dead. This is an almost unique situation because infanticide among orcas is so uncommon that it's only been recorded once in published scientific literature. Setting aside how awful it all is, you can envy the National Geographic team. They even filmed it. However, if infanticide among orcas is rare, what actually happened here? Actually, it's quite simple. The elder female and the others orchestrated all of this to find a mate for the matriarch's son. So one could assume that the play was part of courtship. But in the end, something went wrong, and the potential bride was drowned by her would-be mother-in-law. Well, there's a strategy at play here too. When a young female dies, her mother becomes fertile again, which means she also makes a suitable bride. Basically, for the matriarch's son, it's a win-win all around.
Wow.
All of this, of course, sounds...
So if the soon-to-be bride dies, then her mom become the new soon-to-be bride? That's some Alabama stuff.
Sounds pretty harsh at first. You don't expect such behavior from orcas. They're not lions after all. But when I started studying this issue, it turned out that orcas are capable of even more insane acts. For example, in 2023, 2 orcas killed 19 broad-nosed 7-gill sharks off the coast of South Africa.
Wow.
And this was not the first case. The mysterious marine slaughter caught the attention of marine biologists, and they found that in 2017, the same pair killed at least 8 great white sharks. And in all cases, except one, they fed exclusively on the liver of their victims, leaving the bodies to rot. Why like this? Is the liver somehow special? Or are these orcas real maniacs with their creepy tendencies? Well, it could be both. Shark liver is very nutritious and contains a lot of fats and vitamins. Orcas may have realized that consuming shark liver provides plenty of nutrients with minimal energy expenditure. Also, shark livers are large and buoyant, floating to the surface when a shark is killed. This makes it easy for orcas to get what they want, compared to, for example, other organs that may sink to the bottom. In fact, orcas have their own strategy when dealing with sharks, which always includes at least 2 individuals to corner the prey. This is important because it gives them an advantage. For example, one orca can distract the shark while another attacks, and this strategy requires high intelligence and cooperation. Orcas can also use their large tails to hit sharks and disable them or flip them over to induce tonic immobility. It's a truly astonishing shark bug. flip the animal belly up, and that's it. The formidable predator goes into a state of trance. Such hunting behavior by orcas has been documented worldwide, including in South America, North America, Australia, and New Zealand. Recently, South Africa has also joined this list. Scientists find this concerning because too many sharks.
Look how many it is. Is it the same group, or is it like just orcas and all together?
Sharks have died in just one day. But it turned out that concerning because too many sharks have died in just one day. But it turned out that orcas are too good at killing. To kill a great white shark, even one orca needs less than 2 minutes. That's how long it takes from grabbing the shark by the dorsal fin to gutting it, and orcas can repeat this for up to 2 hours.
Meet a buck, pluck a duck.
Minimum settlement?
People used to believe that a great white shark was too challenging a prey for one orca, but that was until 2023. In March, such a single murder happened for the first time, and we even know the name of the hunter. It's a male called Starboard. But the great white shark...
How the orca has a name? That's how you know people just be giving out names to all these wild animals. Man, get out of here.
Shark is one thing. What about the whale shark? Just 11 months ago, there were reports about orcas pulling out the liver of the whale shark, the largest fish known today. These sharks are so huge that they usually don't have natural predators. But it seems orcas decided to change that and once again prove, even if you're big, it doesn't guarantee your safety. In a short time, they attacked 2 whale sharks and killed them both. And then, of course, they ate the liver. What's next? Murders for fun? People who tend to be pompous and aren't very good with facts somehow think that animals never do anything like that. Well, orcas sometimes play with seal pups just for kicks, not for food, but just to have fun. And after these games, people find seal pup bodies with these distinctive bite marks. And it's no wonder. For instance, an orca tosses a seal 65 feet with its tail, as if it's not a living creature, but simply, I don't know, a shuttlecock? And it doesn't even try to eat this shuttlecock. It's just a plaything. The good news for seals is that this is a very rare occurrence. An expert who studied orcas for 20 years saw this only 4 times. Usually, orcas simply devour seals, as predators should. Besides seals, orcas can also kill and not eat porpoises. Some experts suggest it's a form of social play. Others think orcas practice their hunting skills. It seems a bit strange because orcas, known for killing porpoises, also feed exclusively on fish. Another theory suggests that games with porpoises are an example of mismothering. Orcas may perceive smaller mammalian creatures as weak or sick and therefore in need of care. It's known that female orcas carry the bodies of their dead calves in a similar manner, but I don't recall cases of them tossing them into the air. So we got murders for fun. How about dying for the sake of hunting? Well, sort of. It's known that orcas deliberately beach themselves to catch coastal seals and then clumsily slide back into the water. But that doesn't mean that all the madness of orcas is aimed solely at killings and senseless, incomprehensible cruelty to us. Sometimes it's the opposite. When tourists and the whale-watching expedition team saw a humpback whale tangled in nets, they were really upset. It's a sad sight. And then orcas showed up. A helpless victim, a bunch of predators. You can imagine where this was going. However, instead of confirming their species' reputation, one of the orcas simply ripped off most of the fishing line from the humpback whale and swam away with its pod. And people were left wondering, what was that? Whale solidarity? A coincidence? Because humpbacks are actually part of orcas' menu, so willingly turning down prey is at least odd. Usually, orcas gang up on young or weak humpback whales, try to flip them over and drown them, and this whale looked exhausted. Probably because it had been entangled in the fishing line for quite a while. In the end, researchers joked that the orcas left it to fatten up for next year. Or on a serious note, the exhausted humpback whale might not have seemed worthy prey for them to waste energy on. Actually, orcas are pretty awesome and crazy enough to pull off something.
They was like, I'll save you this time, but if I see you again, just know you're gonna be my dinner plate.
Like that, they literally use icebergs as scratching posts. Such behavior was first observed late last year and is considered rare. Luckily, it was immediately captured on video, providing yet another proof of orcas' intelligence. In the places they live, the water is really cold, and orcas just can't molt naturally, but algae still gather on their skin. Look, see the yellowish tint? These areas should be white, but they look grimy. Something needs to be done about it. so the orcas have decided to rub against icebergs. So they have a choice. They can swim 7,000 miles to places where the water is warmer and molt properly there, and some orcas actually do that, because that's how nature intended them to be. But it's a long journey, and only an adult orca can handle it. The calves can only rub against icebergs, and their mothers teach them this, though it only works for a while. As they grow older, orcas will have to make long migrations to molt properly, but honestly, I'm still impressed by all this.
Every industry needs project managers,
Yeah,
and a Google
Lee,
Career
bro, how
Certificate
many
can help you
ads in
get
a
the skills
video?
to get the job.
And now listen to this. This is how orcas sound in the wild.
Okay, I never knew that.
And this is how dolphins sound in the wild. However, when orcas live with dolphins for a long time, they start speaking the same language. Well, or at least try to. Some species, including humans, can mimic sounds and add them to their own repertoire. Originally, this ability was discovered in 6 groups of animals, 3 groups of birds, and 3 groups of mammals. But it turns out orcas are also great at learning from other species. When interacting with bottlenose dolphins in captivity, they shifted from their usual vocalizations and began making more dolphin-like noises. It's like they started talking in the bottlenose dolphin language. Scientists think that orcas might use this trait to facilitate social interactions. In the end, when you're always around beings you need to constantly talk to, you have to find ways to understand each other. I even think that orcas are able to understand the meaning of all those dolphin sounds they learn. But an orca that imitates human speech is just acting like a big marine parrot. It just repeats what it's told to repeat, like sounds that resemble hello, bye-bye, and even Amy, the name of its trainer.
Hello? Amy?
Bye-bye.
This isn't even the first such case. So it's clear that orcas are really good at mimicking sounds that aren't their own. Given all this, it's strange that there are people who are convinced orcas are fish? Seriously, I know people like that. But I'd like to end the video with Old Tom. In the early 1900s, this male orca who hunted along the coast of Australia would herd pods of baleen whales towards whaling ships. He did that for a reason. Old Tom and the whalers had sort of a deal. The orca and his pod only ate the soft lips and tongues of the killed whales, leaving the blubber and bones for the whalers. And everyone was generally happy with the partnership. For 4 decades, European whalers followed the law of the tongue. Let me repeat that, 40 years. According to other sources, it was actually 80 years. Old Tom was the leader of his pod of 20 to 30 orcas, which he coordinated to scare baleen whales and signal the whalers. He couldn't speak human language, though, so he just slapped the water with his tail. And the partnership didn't stop with hunting, because whalers and orcas helped each other in daily life. For example, whaling crews freed orcas from fishing nets, while orcas drove sharks away from small boats. Overall, it was peace, harmony, and delicious whale tongues. Alas, in the end, greed triumphed over common sense and respect for the helpers. Fearing that the small whale Old Tom pounced on was the last of the season, whalers began snatching prey from the animal. It looked like a tug of war, causing the orca to lose several teeth and then die from hunger and infections. There are other theories, according to which the entire pod of Old Tom was killed by other whalers. Before that, orcas had a falling out with people because they accidentally or intentionally killed one of them. Finding out what really happened might be impossible now, but you can see the skeleton of Old Tom at the Whale Museum. The museum is located on the north side of Twofold Bay and gets 50,000 visitors each year. Well, I'd love to visit as well. Well, you owe me a like since you made it this far. See you later.
Well, there we go. Another video. It was pretty long though, so I hope y'all enjoyed it. You know, I learned something, y'all learned something, we all learned something. But other than that,